Due to the overwhelming strength of the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, the Hall Master of the Soul Hall invited Xiao Yan and his group to join forces in dealing with it. As the story continues, the appearance of the white-robed man on the magma pillar instantly silenced the entire space. All eyes were fixed on him, filled with greed and fervor. The people present, with their sharp eyesight, could immediately recognize that this man was the true form of the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. Pure Lotus Demon Flame, who would have thought that in just 1,000 years, you'd master the nightmare sky mist of the Pure Lotus Demon Sage to such an extent. It's truly impressive, remarked the Soul Hall Master, clad in a black robe, his expression slightly grim. He, too, had been trapped in the illusion, and if it hadn't suddenly broken at the last moment, even he wouldn't have realized he was still within it. This demonic flame is becoming more and more bizarre. This time, we absolutely cannot let it roam free. If it escapes, the Central Plains will suffer greatly, declared Yao Wangui, the elder of the Yao clan, his eyes burning with greed as he stared at the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. The earlier experience had made him acutely aware of its terrifying power, but it also fueled his avarice. Hearing Yao Wangui's words, many around him nodded, their faces filled with fear as they looked at the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. Its displayed abilities were simply too dreadful. The white-robed man on the magma pillar glanced at the Soul Hall Master and the others without any emotion, then fixed his gaze on the silent Xiao Yan. After a moment, a cold voice slowly emerged. "How did you break my nightmare illusion?" Xiao Yan shrugged. "Just dumb luck." Naturally, he couldn't reveal the truth. This space was filled with strange and eerie elements, and the Pure Lotus Demon Flame was obviously an extremely tricky adversary. Xiao Yan wasn't confident in subduing it, and the mysterious light orb in his mind was his only hope, something he wasn't about to expose. Upon hearing the Pure Lotus Demon Flame's words, the onlookers cast surprised glances at Xiao Yan. Was it really this kid who broke the illusion? They were clearly shocked that someone with just the strength of a 2-star Do Shang could be the first to shatter an illusion cultivated for a millennium by the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. Not far away, Huaxin laughed. "Brother Xiao Yan, you truly have some impressive skills. Haha, it looks like we all owe you one." Hearing his laughter, the Soul Hall Master and the Yao clan members pursed their lips. They naturally weren't about to acknowledge Xiao Yan's favor, as they believed he was merely trying to survive. The white-robed man stared coldly at Xiao Yan, clearly not buying his excuse. If breaking the illusion was simply a matter of luck, then his years of cultivating the nightmare sky mist would indeed be a joke. Enough. Once I turn you into my fire slave, you'll naturally tell me everything in detail. Although your escape from the illusion was unexpected, the final outcome will be the same, said the white-robed man, waving his hand. An invisible ripple spread out, and the milky white light circle in the distant sky began to gradually dissipate. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. The Pure Lotus Demon Flame had concealed the space passage, clearly intending to eliminate them completely. With the space passage obliterated, fierce milky white flames erupted violently from the white-robed man's body. The flames rapidly spread outwards, encompassing the entire area in the blink of an eye, creating a fiery prison that encased Xiao Yan and his companions. For massive curtains of milky white fire descended from the sky, connecting to the magma sea below, forming a four-sided prison that seemed to link heaven and earth. Xiao Yan and his group huddled together, their expressions solemn as they observed their surroundings. They could feel a terrifying heat spreading quickly, even causing Xiao Yan to pale slightly. Yao Lao, his face serious, said, "He wants to refine us all." Xiao Chun, who had been silent until now, spoke slowly. "The Pure Lotus Demon Flame is immensely powerful. Currently, it is equivalent to a peak 5-star Do Shang. With its unique abilities, it could even challenge a 6-star Do Shang. None of us here can surpass its strength." His deep understanding of the Pure Lotus Demon Flame made him acutely aware of its current power. Hearing this, everyone's faces changed slightly. Peak 5-star. The gap between each level of Do Shang was vast, and dealing with the third-ranked Heavenly Flame made it even more formidable. While everyone was on high alert, lo, muffled explosions suddenly erupted from not far behind them. Xiao Yan and his companions quickly turned around to see figures suddenly exploding into clouds of blood mist. The blood mist was instantly vaporized by the intense heat. This sudden self-detonation caused panic among many. They hadn't seen any attacks, yet these people were dying. As the panic grew, more and more people began to explode spontaneously. The continuous low explosions made their scalps tingle. This invisible and intangible method of killing was terrifying. Amidst the spreading chaos, someone finally shouted, "Be careful! The Pure Lotus Demon Flame is extremely strange. It can manipulate emotions to ignite spontaneous combustion. If you don't want to die, control your thoughts." Hearing this, the remaining people hurriedly suppressed their emotions, trying to remain calm. The continuous self-detonations gradually lessened. The white-robed man raised his eyes coldly and eerily said, "These people aren't even qualified to be my fire slaves." As the last word left his mouth, the entire sky erupted into chaos. Nearly 80% of the Do Zun experts exploded bizarrely, as if they had been rigged with explosives. Seeing the sky suddenly half-empty, Xiao Yan and his companions felt a chill down their spines. This guy's methods are terrifying. Thankfully, they hadn't brought the Sky Mansion Alliance's experts inside. Otherwise, half of them would have died instantly at the white-robed man's command. The white-robed man finally smiled as he looked at the now much emptier sky. "Those who remain are qualified to be my fire slaves." With a wave of his hand, 10 magma pillars shot up from the magma sea below. The magma burst open, revealing 10 figures clad in milky white fire armor surrounding the white-robed man. Seeing the 10 figures with hollow eyes, Xiao Yan took a sharp breath. They are all Dosheng experts. These 10 figures were clearly fire slaves, but what shocked Xiao Yan was that every one of them had reached the Dosheng level, with the strongest one being a late 3-star Dosheng. Faced with this grand display by the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, everyone was momentarily stunned. Even the Soul Hall Master furrowed his brows. The white-robed man smiled at the crowd and said softly, "Every time I tear the seal, many arrogant individuals come in, but in the end, they all become my most obedient fire slaves. This time, my collection is destined to grow even richer." The Soul Hall Master stared intently at the distant formation. A Dosheng close to 6 stars and 10 Doshengs ranging from 1 to 3 stars. Such a lineup was beyond even the Soul Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, regardless of our past grievances, if we want to survive and defeat the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, we must join forces, the Soul Hall Master said, looking first toward Xiao Yan's group, where Ziyan and Gu Nanhai were among the strongest present. If they refused to cooperate, things would get much more complicated. Hearing the Soul Hall Master, many experts hesitated. The Soul Hall's notorious reputation made none of them keen to ally with them. Seeing the silence, the Soul Hall Master wasn't surprised. He said calmly, "Take your time to consider. Of course, if anyone feels confident enough to take on the Pure Lotus Demon Flame alone, I promise not to interfere." After some hesitation, Hu Yao, the elder of the Yin clan, finally spoke up, acknowledging the necessity of the situation. "Although the Soul Hall's reputation is bad, you have a point. It seems the Pure Lotus Demon Flame doesn't intend to let us leave easily." Seeing the Yin clan's agreement, the elders of the Yao clan, Lei clan, and Shi clan also nodded after some deliberation. Sun Er softly asked, "What should we do?" Cooperation with the Soul Hall was undoubtedly like seeking a tiger's help. Xiao Yan looked up, met the Soul Hall Master's gaze for a moment, then smiled slightly and said, "As the Master suggests, we should first cooperate to deal with the Pure Lotus Demon Flame." Everyone who agreed to cooperate had their own motives regarding the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. However, the urgent task was to defeat it first. Only then would they have a chance to survive and possibly seize its essence. This cooperation, naturally, was filled with ulterior motives. Seeing Xiao Yan's swift agreement, the Soul Hall Master was momentarily surprised. He looked deeply at Xiao Yan and then smiled faintly. "Indeed, you are bold. In that case, those with the strength of 4-star Dosheng and above will join forces to deal with the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. As for the other fire slaves, we will need others to handle them." The other fire slaves are our responsibility, Xiao Yan replied with a slight smile. He then turned to Zi Yin and Gu Nanhai, whispering, "Be extra cautious when we join forces against the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. Don't give it your all to avoid being taken advantage of." Zi Yin and Gu Nanhai nodded. They were not ordinary individuals and understood the situation well. Joining forces with the Soul Hall meant being wary of their tricks, lest they end up utterly defeated. Xiao Chen spoke in a hoarse voice, "Xiao Yan, I cannot participate in the assault on the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. If I get too close, your seal will lose its effectiveness, and I will fall completely under its control." Xiao Yan smiled. "Ancestor Xiao Chen, you don't need to intervene. We should always be cautious." He was wary of the Soul Hall members. Even though the Soul Hall Master would join the fight, the Deputy Master and the dangerous Hun Feng still posed significant threats. Xiao Yan had to remain vigilant against these two. Xiao Chen nodded silently in response. He was a man of few words. Ever since being captured by the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, he had been trapped in its illusion, unable to escape. If Xiao Yan hadn't rescued him, he would have eventually lost his mind completely, becoming a fire slave like the others. Surviving in the illusion for over 1,000 years had made Xiao Chen much more solitary, especially after hearing about the fall of the Xiao clan. He no longer belonged to this era. When his clan needed him the most, he couldn't do anything to help. Xiao Yan cupped his hands respectfully towards Xiao Chen. "Thank you, ancestor." Xiao Chen's formidable strength was undeniable. Even Zi Yin and Gu Nanhai couldn't gain the upper hand against him. His true strength was likely second only to the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, and his peculiar aura made it hard for even the Soul Hall Master to detect his terrifying power unless he deliberately used his Do Qi. This unknown factor would be a substantial protective barrier for Xiao Yan and his companions. "You are the only member of the Xiao clan with the power of our bloodline. Rest assured, I will do everything to protect you," Xiao Chen said, shaking his head slowly. His gaze softened slightly as he looked at Xiao Yan's young face, a rare gentle smile appearing. "Your talent far surpasses mine. With you, the Xiao clan has hope for revitalization. I made many reckless mistakes in the past, causing trouble for our clan. Now that fate has given me this chance, I will dedicate everything to the Xiao clan, even my life." Xiao Yan remained silent, bowing deeply once more to Xiao Chen before turning his attention to the sky. Among the strong individuals present, there were 8 Dosheng experts with the strength of 4 stars and above. However, since Xiao Chen couldn't fight, 7 would team up against the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. This lineup was formidable, giving them a considerable chance of victory. As Xiao Yan calculated their odds, the Soul Hall Master was the first to move. He stepped into the air, appearing within 100 feet of the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. The other experts followed, surrounding the demon flame in a circle. 7 4-star Doshengs. The sheer presence of these 7 was enough to be deemed extraordinary. The combined power of these 7 could indeed shake the heavens and earth. The others around exchanged solemn glances before quickly retreating. They knew they had no place in such a monumental battle. As the crowd retreated, the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, standing on the magma pillar, smiled. His handsome face slowly revealed an eerie smile. What a nostalgic scene. The Pure Lotus Demon Flame lightly clenched his hand towards the boundless magma sea below, causing the sea to violently churn. Suddenly, a giant flame spear, entirely bone-white, shot out from it and appeared in the Pure Lotus Demon Flame's hand in a flash. "I've been sealed here for thousands of years. Today, anyone who obstructs me shall die." As the last word left his mouth, he abruptly raised his head, opened his mouth, and a massive wave of demonic flames, hundreds of meters wide, spewed out. The terrifying heat even made the Soul Hall Master's expression change slightly. "Attack together." The Soul Hall Master's eyes flickered, and an overwhelming black mist surged out of him like rolling dark clouds, clashing with the fiery wave. However, at the moment of contact, the black mist instantly dissipated, and the fiery wave split into 7 huge fire pillars, fiercely blasting towards the 7 individuals. Seeing the formidable power of the Pure Lotus Demon Flame's first attack, even Zi Yin and the others dared not be careless. Their Do Qi surged, and powerful Do techniques were unleashed. In the sky, the exploding flames resembled the most dazzling fireworks, yet beneath their beauty lay destructive power. The fireworks exploded in the sky, and the 7 figures staggered back. Yao Wangui of the Yao clan and an elder of the Shi clan had their clothes half-burned, looking rather disheveled. It was clear that even the combined forces of the 7 had not gained any advantage against the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. With a successful strike, a cold smile appeared on the Pure Lotus Demon Flame's handsome face. Floating in the air, he suddenly grasped towards the magma sea below. The sea exploded, and a gigantic magma hand, 1,000 feet wide, emerged. It soared towards Xiao Yan and the others, slamming down on them like a fly swatter. The speed of the magma hand was astonishing. Before anyone could react, it had already swatted the 7 of them into the magma below with a series of splashes. The Pure Lotus Demon Flame sneered, "Insignificant ants." Xiao Yan and his companions watched in horror as 7 4-star Do Sheng experts were so easily overwhelmed by the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. Despite the latter's advantageous terrain, his attacks were overwhelmingly fierce. The magma surface exploded, and several disheveled figures re-emerged, hovering in mid-air. Their faces were pale and greenish. In the Central Plains, these individuals were top-tier experts, but they had never been beaten so badly. "Everyone, if we keep holding back, we won't have another chance to attack," the Soul Hall Master coldly shouted, his expression dark. At this rate, they would start losing people. Hearing his words, the other 6 frowned slightly. After being twice fiercely attacked by the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, they were already injured. The residual demonic flames were so persistent that even their considerable strength couldn't expel them quickly. As this thought crossed everyone's minds, their expressions grew solemn. "We have to defeat the Pure Lotus Demon Flame first," they resolved. The 7 hovered around the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, their already vast auras rapidly intensifying. Xian's delicate body shimmered, and the roar of a dragon echoed through the space. Her 1,000-foot-long dragon phoenix form emerged, with massive phoenix wings gently flapping, stirring up scorching whirlwinds and a terrifying pressure descending upon the area. The Soul Hall Master, witnessing Xian's transformation, was momentarily stunned. "This is the primordial ancient dragon? How does it have this form?" His eyes flickered with confusion, but he quickly pushed it aside. His hand seals changed rapidly, and a vast doqi emanated from him, causing the very heavens and earth to tremble. He, too, was now unleashing his full power. As Xian and the Soul Hall Master unleashed their strength, the other 5 bit their teeth and dared not hold back any longer. Their doqi surged wildly, creating violent winds, dark clouds, and roaring thunder. Even the magma sea below erupted into giant waves hundreds of feet high. Finally, the 7 4-star Do Shengs displayed their true might. Sensing the sudden surge in power from everyone, the Pure Lotus Demon Flame raised an eyebrow and sneered. "Now this is interesting. Fire slaves, kill the others. These fire slaves will suffice." With a flick of his eyes toward Xiao Yan and his group, the Pure Lotus Demon Flame's handsome face twisted into a sinister smile. His cold voice resonated through the air. At his command, the 10 Do Sheng fire slaves, who had been hovering motionlessly in the sky, suddenly opened their eyes. Hollow pupils ignited with eerie milky white flames, and without hesitation, they charged towards Xiao Yan and his companions. The atmosphere grew tense, and the heavens seemed to be in turmoil. Seeing the fire slaves charging towards them, Xiao Yan's face became grave. He shouted, "Retreat!" He swiftly retreated, knowing that despite having several Do Shengs on their side, he wouldn't recklessly engage these tireless and pain-immune fire slaves head-on. Following Xiao Yan's retreat, Sun Er and the others quickly followed suit. They didn't head towards the crowded areas, but instead sought an open space away from the main group. The Vice Hall Master of the Soul Hall sneered, "Humph, just some fire slaves, and they dare to think they can handle me." He didn't seem flustered at all. With his late-stage 3-star Do Sheng strength, he could easily dominate the strongest fire slave here, so he wasn't worried about the 10 Do Sheng fire slaves attacking. Hun Feng said calmly, "Vice Hall Master, There's no need to take the initiative. If any fire slaves come to us, then deal with them. If not, just enjoy the show." Hearing this, the Vice Hall Master of the Soul Hall laughed strangely. "Heh, that works." He glanced maliciously in the direction of Xiao Yan and his group, his eyes flickering with unknown thoughts. As the Dosheng fire slaves advanced, the other experts quickly gathered together, watching the 10 flaming figures that had appeared not far away with wary eyes. The 10 fiery figures scanned the crowd with hollow gazes before suddenly charging in different directions, each targeting their chosen victim. Seeing this, Xiao Yan warned, "Be careful." Perhaps because their group was the largest, 3 Dosheng fire slaves charged towards them. However, Xiao Yan felt somewhat relieved that the strongest of these 3 was only a late-stage 2-star Dosheng, which wasn't too difficult to handle. Xiao Yan lightly stretched his 10 fingers and said, "I'll take on the late-stage 2-star Dosheng fire slave." "The early-stage 2-star Dosheng one is mine," Sooner said with a sweet smile. "The last one is for me," smiled the Grand Elder of the Little Pill Tower. The final fire slave was only a late-stage 1-star Dosheng, so defeating it shouldn't be hard for him. With the opponents assigned, Xiao Yan commanded in a deep voice, "Everyone else, be extra careful and stay aware of what's happening around you." Then, with a swift move, he appeared in front of the late-stage 2-star Dosheng fire slave. His vast Do Chi surged within him as he gripped the heavy Xian ruler, raising it high before bringing it down on the fire slave's head with a fierce strike. Facing Xiao Yan's powerful strike, the fire slave was suddenly covered in a layer of milky white flame. It raised its arm and forcefully blocked Xiao Yan's heavy ruler, causing sparks to fly at the point of contact. Having forcibly taken Xiao Yan's blow, the milky white flame on the fire slave's body seemed to possess intelligence, rapidly swirling to form a sinister giant mouth that lunged at Xiao Yan. What a bizarre Pure Lotus Demon Flame, Xiao Yan thought. He was extremely wary of the Pure Lotus Demon Flame and naturally wouldn't let it touch him. He swiftly moved to the fire slave's back, raising both palms. A dark ring of light rapidly expanded from his palms. Great Heaven Creation Palm. 2 dark rings of light swiftly appeared in Xiao Yan's palms. With his current strength, he could easily use both hands to execute the Great Heaven Creation Palm. In fact, his power might even surpass that of the original creator of the technique. The dark rings of light surged forth and struck the Dosheng fire slave's body with tremendous force. The ferocious impact dimmed the milky white flames covering the fire slave. However, this damage wasn't enough to halt the fire slave's advance, as they had no sense of pain. Their fierce counterattacks caused Xiao Yan to momentarily struggle, but he quickly regained his composure and began to regain the upper hand. With each strike, he dispersed more of the milky white flames on the fire slave's body. Clearly, if the demonic flames were completely extinguished, the fire slave's strength would significantly decrease. While Xiao Yan was overpowering the late-stage 2-star Dosheng fire slave, Sooner and the Grand Elder were also achieving impressive results. Both of them were stronger than their respective fire slaves. Their agility and powerful Do techniques gave them an advantage, even though they were slightly cautious of the flames on the fire slaves' bodies. Despite this, they remained in control of their battles. The entire sky above the magma sea was engulfed in intense combat. The most fierce and terrifying battle was naturally the massive central battleground where the 7 4-star Doshengs were fighting against the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. The combined efforts of the 7 4-star Doshengs managed to entangle the Pure Lotus Demon Flame. Despite its formidable strength, the sheer number of opponents, each with extensive combat experience, forced it to take the battle seriously. Although this was their first time working together, they displayed a remarkable level of coordination. No one dared to step into this immense battleground, as the violent astral winds howled within, and chaotic energy storms spread indiscriminately. Anyone caught in these storms would face a lethal assault. Outside this main battlefield, smaller skirmishes took place, including the battles between Xiao Yan's group and the fire slaves. Xiao Yan's group was contending with 3 of the 10 Dosheng fire slaves, while the remaining 7 were engaged with other powerful fighters. Many experts had entered the demonic flame space, but their quality was no match for the fire slaves. During the fight, it became apparent that two of the fire slaves had the strength of a 3-star dosheng. One of them was held back by the Vice Hall Master of the Soul Hall, but the other rampaged unchallenged. The 4-star doshengs were preoccupied with the Pure Lotus Demon Flame, leaving the Vice Hall Master as the strongest fighter available. With him occupied, the remaining 3-star dosheng fire slave became a fearsome predator among sheep. It charged through, forcing even the strongest to retreat. Eventually, 3 2-star doshengs managed to hold it at bay. In the sky, a few fortunate Dozun experts still survived. Most of them were at the peak of Dozun, but they dared not get involved in the dosheng's battles. Instead, they fled in panic, realizing how foolish it had been to enter the demonic flame space. Xiao Yan shouted, "Netherworld Palm!" A massive energy palm formed in the sky and crashed down on the fire slave, carrying immense power. The strike shattered the last of the demonic flames on its body, dealing a significant blow. As the last of the flames dissipated, the once fiercely fighting fire slave suddenly slowed down significantly, and its attacks lost much of their power. Seeing this, Xiao Yan had a thought. It seems these flames are their energy source. I wonder if I can use the soul incantation from that light orb to temporarily control the fire slaves? Xiao Yan's eyes sparkled as he quickly scanned the surroundings. If he could control these fire slaves, his strength would undoubtedly increase dramatically. Without hesitation, Xiao Yan acted swiftly. He appeared in front of the weakened fire slave, waved his hand, and solidified the space, immobilizing the fire slave. His fingertips quickly traced a strange pattern using his soul power on the fire slave's forehead, forming an intricate rune. Once the rune was complete, Xiao Yan shouted, "Go!" The rune imprinted on the fire slave's forehead, quickly merging into its skin and penetrating its mind. As the soul rune entered the fire slave's mind, Xiao Yan immediately felt an intense heat emanating from it. Through another sense, he could see a milky white fire pearl rotating in the depths of the fire slave's mind, containing extremely terrifying energy. The soul rune circled around the milky white fire pearl, releasing waves of peculiar energy that gradually isolated the pearl. At the moment the fire pearl was isolated, Xiao Yan felt a connection in his mind. With a mere thought, the fire slave in front of him lowered its arms and stood quietly beside him, like a submissive servant. It really worked. Xiao Yan's face lit up with uncontrollable joy. If he could control all 10 fire slaves, his forces would increase exponentially. At that point, even annihilating the Soul Hall wouldn't be an impossible task.